Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all my Magic players out there. We're getting a little festive around here, as you can see. We've festified the place. We've even got a nativity scene. I didn't have all the right pieces, so I used my D&D army guys and one tech deck dude. Pretty creative. Right out of the gate, you guys really liked the Obscure Commander video. It's performing very well, which is awesome. Yeah, we had a goal for 10K though, subscribers, so if all those people just subscribed, aren't we done? Yeah, well, you're right. You are technically right. If this video were to get around 10,000 to 20,000, like the last one did, and every single person that watched were to subscribe, that would get us over our 10,000 goal in one video. But you can't say stuff like that all the time, alright? Intros can only be so long. Anyways, I got some power for you guys. Mythic Rare style. They're all coming in under $1. You can't go wrong there. Power creep might be a bitch, but price descent. Now that's a fruit that is ever so sweet. Up first, we've got Heliod, God of the Sun. This 4-mana white enchantment creature god is a 5/6 that has the obligatory indestructible and creature at 5 devotion stipulation we've come to expect from gods of this era. This guy also gives our whole board vigilance, which in a go-wide token deck, like Gave or Jetmir, could come in handy. You know, so you can attack while also being able to block. You can also pay 2 and 2 white to create a 2/1 white enchantment cleric. That's right, this thing's an enchantment, so get ready to trigger all your constellation cards like Calyx Guided by Fate, and all your enter enchantment card draw like Rite of Harmony. This super hard to deal with factory for enchantment creation, essentially, and vigilance, is really strong for a lot of different decks. An enchantment deck, a token deck, a creature deck, tribal decks, a lot of different stuff. This can be pretty good. Also, it's been reprinted to the moon, so the price is something we can get behind. Coming in for the blue card on this list, we've got Conspiracy Unraveler, or as I like to call it, Constipated Sphinx. At 5 and 2 blue, this high CMC Sphinx comes in at a sizable 6/6 flying body, as well as a unique and powerful effect once in play. You may collect evidence 10, which is to remove cards from your graveyard with a total CMC of 10 or greater. You can collect evidence 10 rather than pay the mana cost of spells you've cast. I really like this. I hate to spoil the fun. I always end up spoiling or like teasing decks in the future on videos. I'm doing it again. I'm working on a Tasigur Sultai Spellslinger deck list, and this is perfect. The whole deck is just filling my graveyard with big-ass spells, using some of the cards we put in graveyard to play Tasigur over and over again with the Delve. Also, the whole goal is just like cheating really big instants and sorceries into play with like Mnemonic Deluge, Mind's Desire. I could put one of these in there and then start, you know, collecting evidence with some of these other big spells to cast more big spells that are in my hand. I think it's pretty good. Or you could run big creatures and sack outlets. That's a good point too. That's actually a pretty good point too. You can use some of your threats to play more threats if you have like a sack outlet or something. Up next is easily the most Christmassy card of the bunch. I didn't want to get too festive, but we've got Arguel's Bloodfast. This 1 colorless, 1 black legendary enchantment is a mana sink that lets us convert 1 colorless and 1 black into a card draw in exchange for 2 life. This thing can also transform into a sack outlet that gains you life for sacking creatures, but it only does that if your life total's 5 or less, which probably not happening. It could. Probably not, though. This thing's honestly just the greed upgrade. For 1 more mana to draw, we get it out 2 turns earlier with the added bonus of possibly turning it into a sack outlet late game. Plus, it's from those, like, from the vault sets, so you can get one of those, like, hyper foily versions that crimple and you can stack your deck. I'm just kidding. You can get one of those really foiled versions, though, that look wild. Not Christmassy at all. I do like the card, though. Greed, the 4 mana cost on Greed just makes it so hard to find a good turn to play it. After you play it, yeah, you got a pretty good mana sink, but 4 mana just makes it a little bit difficult. This thing costing 2 makes it way easier to get it out way earlier just with 2 extra mana you've got here and there, and then it becomes a mana sink just like Greed does. But hey, if I didn't sell you on that one, this red one will sell you immediately. Expedited Inheritance is 2 red for an enchantment. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, its controller may exile that many cards from the top of their library. They may play those cards until the end of their next turn. Yeah, now pair this with the Descent into Avernus, and the game, you got the game going faster than the Lutri ban, alright? The idea of this game is in the works, and it's already over. Put this in your group slug decks, your Xantia sleeper agents, you're trying to accelerate the game, you're trying to make everybody play at your pace, everyone's taking damage for doing everything. There's also just the Expedited Inheritance into Blasphemous Act play, which I think's really funny, because you know damn well there's going to be a couple people at the table that are like, yeah, I'll exile the top 52. I think I could bring it home with that. I'll give you $30 if you tell me what expedited or inheritance means. You don't think I know what expedited or inheritance means? Expedited is when you're thrown out of a restaurant because you're on a specific diet.
Painfully wrong.
And inheritance is when you got a little bit of leftover dye in your hair.
That's upsetting.
Foundations. With the introduction to a lot of new reprints in Foundations, there's been a lot of price drops in cards. Cards that I forgot existed. One of those cards being Vizier of the Menagerie. Drop below $1. Let's talk about it. This 3 and a green 3/4 lets us look at the top card of our deck anytime. We can cast creature spells from the top, as well as mana we spend to cast creatures being able to be spent as though it were any color. Keep in mind, this mana effect isn't just for the creatures we're casting off top. That's just any creatures we cast. Our mana is pretty much any color for any creature. Pretty good, especially if you've got more colors in your deck. This seems like a pretty good way to not only play slivers off the top, but also have the mana to play the slivers, because you're in 5 color. Maybe even in something like Taneb, I could see this being tried out. But if I didn't have a stack of like 300 cards that need to go in there, yeah, we're still gonna try it out. Nah, we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it. We're totally gonna try it. Transmutation font. I'm getting right into the name of our artifact of the list, okay? Because this one's interesting. I do understand it's a bit slow. I also understand, look at that art, look at that effect. We gotta find some ways to use this, boys, because it's under $1. It's real good. For 5 colorless mana, we get an artifact that we can tap to create our choice of a blood, clue, or food token. Well, you could call me an upset pirate. Because, where the treasure? We can also pay 3 and tap it to sacrifice 3 artifact tokens with different names to search our deck for an artifact and put it into play. I get it. It doesn't make treasures. It costs 5. You can only sack tokens. Those tokens have to have different names. I hope you got a well-trained dog, because that's a lot of hoops. But this is one of the best ways, the best way to make blood tokens in colorless in any deck. You can put this in and make blood tokens. I think blood tokens are extraordinarily good. I think until we get a better way that can be put in any deck, transmutation font isn't bad. I think being able to make blood tokens every turn isn't bad when you can maybe interact with it with some untap engines maybe. I just think a Koldatha Forge Master with more steps that could also make blood tokens is something to consider. I also am 50% out the door on this one, but that's kind of the point of these videos. Either obscure or budget cards that we're gonna give a shot, see if we can figure out. This one's under $1. It's pretty good. Make blood tokens. Finishing off our list for the multicolor slot, we've got Selvella, Eager Trailblazer. I never saw this card once. For 2, a green and a white, we get a 4/5 with Vigilance. Whenever we cast a creature, we create a 1/1 red mercenary token with tap. Target creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. We can also tap her to choose a color and add 1 mana of that color for each creature we control with different power. I love this thing. If you're in a token deck, but a lot of your token creators are creatures like Brimaz, Scute Swarm, this isn't bad. You're just getting more creatures for playing creatures, which I think that's what a go-wide deck would want to do. I think that's exactly what it would need. She also floats tons of mana for your different power creatures, which when you're making all these mercenaries that can give target creature a +1/+0 power buff, very easy to add a ton of mana with Selvella that you can then turn into bigger creatures that make tokens like Avenger Zendikar. And you've got a pretty scary deck throughout the whole game. You've got a commander that comes out turn 3 most of the time with 2 mana rocks. And then it itself will accelerate you into the mid-game, late-game faster than everybody else. And then it just promotes you with your strategy for playing more of your strategy, which I've heard is good. I like this card as a 1-of in a deck. I like this card as the commander for a go-wide token deck where, again, the creatures are the things making the tokens. So if you enjoyed this video, maybe take a lesson out of little Wallet's book there and, subscribe right now. If you're not subscribed, click that subscribe button. You've been sitting there considering it. You said, listen, I like this guy. I don't have nothing against this little chubby white country boy. That's what they all say, all right? But hey, if this could get 10K, 20K again, and then all those people subscribe, I can wipe my hands of this 10K challenge and we can move on to the next goal. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you want to show some additional support, like the names that you can see over my blurred mug right now, head over to the Patreon. It starts as low as $1. The links for it are in the description and the comments. Let me know some of your favorite budget mythic rares to play with, and I'll see you guys next time.